Team Justice League, and I am here with my teammate Darius. He's going to give us a deck profile of his X, cross deck, whatever you want to say, with Stride. Darius, take it away.
Alright guys, so first off we're going to start with the starter. Now the starter is Wyvern Kid Raga. The reason you keep this starter is because it's skill. When you use the Generation Break 1, you can also put this into so Counterblast 1 and then you get to retire grade 1 or less. It helps with the deck because the skill of the cross is it's a retiring skill, it's Legion skill, so it helps you +1 when you're retiring.
Also on grade 3, can't you use that if you stride first? You can actually pick off their starter before they can actually do it?
Exactly. When I can explain even more in depth with the stride effect as well when we get to the stride section of this.
All right.
So next we have the grade 3. 1, 2, 3. So here, as you can see, I have 4 Dragonic Overlord the crosses for the ends. That's all you need. Some people like to add maybe Dragonic Dragonic Overlord the Great, but you don't need him because he kind of throws the deck off. So all you need is 4 the crosses for the ends. The cross, again, you use his skill. If he don't hit, Counterblast 1, Persona Blast, and then he gets to destroy 2 rear guards. So that helps with plussing when you have other rear guards that go up when your opponent's rear guards go into the drop zone. The end, you know, if you hit anything, you can hit the rear guard or the vanguard and Counterblast 2, Persona Blast, and he gets to stand up the whole vanguard again.
Is it any card that you kill with that, or is it?
If he hits anything, so
anything.
Vanguard, rear guard, anything, he gets this. You get to use his skill and stand up.
Why do you use 4X and 4 the end?
Because the deck really works. The deck plays off of each other. So
why is that?
The cross plays off the cross because it's Legion skill.
Oh, okay, there we go. It's a Legion.
Yeah. The end plays off itself because it's a Persona Blast. They both Persona Blast, so that's why they play off each other so well. And because if you have any other grade 3, you can probably you'll throw off the chemistry of the deck if you add any other grade 3s.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to grade 2s.
So on to grade 2s. We have a couple of them.
Only a couple? How many are you running?
I'm running about 10 to 11 grade 2s. So specifically I'm running, of course, Dragonic Burning Horn Dragon.
What does Burning Horn do?
So Burning Horn is a 12k attacker when you have an Overlord as a Vanguard.
Okay.
So if you want, you can switch out, because I have a lot of 12k attackers because I'm an aggressive type of player. So you can always switch out the 12k attackers. You don't have to have as many as I have in this deck. Like for instance, I have Dragon Knight, I cannot read, I'm sorry. Jabad. So Dragon Knight Jabad, he's a 12k attacker, but you need a Generation Break 1. So again, that's how I like to play. I'm a very aggressive player. So you'll see in this deck I have a lot of 12k attackers.
Alright. What's that card all the way on the my right, your left?
So you have Twilight Arrow Dragon. Twilight Arrow skill, Generation Break 1. If it's supported and it attacks the Vanguard, it don't even have to hit. If it attacks, Counterblast 1, and you can retire front row rear guard. And that helps because it goes into play with the grade 1 that I have that you'll see coming up. That goes into the soul, and then I get to unflip 2 damage.
What does he do?
So now we have Dragonic Burnout. So Dragonic Burnout, his skill is you call him to the rear guard circle, you put an Overlord card into the bottom of the deck, and then you get the Soul Blast 1 and you get the retiring unit on the field, in the front row to be specifically.
Why are you only running 2 of him and not 3 or maybe 4?
Well, because that goes into the consideration of me playing aggressive. So while these 2 are they basically complement each other, or they're substitutes. So if I don't get Dragonic Burnout, I can also use Twilight Arrow Dragon. So either way, I have substitutes whose effect is allowing me to +1 when I want to retire.
Okay.
So it goes in the same consideration. If I have either one of these 2 on the field, that allows me to still get my unflippers effect off. So either way, they're mostly used to put Overlord either back in the deck or use it as an unflipper to spawn my unflipper skill.
So you can continue to use the Persona Blast without actually having to re-Legion every time.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it'll also allow me to, the more I can unflip damage, the more times I can use my Vanguard skill.
Alright.
So the more I flip damage, the more times I can use Dragonic Overlord, the end skill, or the more times I can use my Dragonic, the cross skill.
Okay. Alright, let's move on to the grade ones.
So here are all your grade ones.
Alright.
Of course,
4 perfect guards.
4 perfect
Those
guards.
perfect guards save lives.
Not only that, but also because you do not want to run quintet walls in this deck, because with this deck you'll need your counter blast. So even though you have unflippers, it's still best to not have cards that go against your unflippers. So it's best to have 4 perfect guards so you can automatically block and you don't have to hope for the quintet walls top 5 cards to save you. So I like to be real strict and real specific when it comes to me guarding. So 4 perfect guards, straightforward, don't have to worry about anything else in terms of defending.
Right. Like you don't leave it up to RNG or the random chance that you could get a bunch of
Exactly. I just want to make sure that I'm safe. So once my opponent attacks, I know that I'm fine because I don't have to put it up to luck. I can just put it up to what the card has.
Unless you're going up against Great Darius.
Then you're screwed.
I see the big body of text for the perfect guards. Are those the new perfect guards for Kagero?
Yes, so these are the new ones. So the good thing about these perfect guards is they're unflippers as well. So if I use this perfect guard and I have one in the drop zone, I can unflip a damage. So so now you're seeing that I have this deck based on unflipping and aggro play. So with this deck, I'll also be able to get Dragonic Overlord the cross or the end skill off multiple times. That's the beauty of the deck, and that's the focus of the deck, is to try and get this skill off as many times as possible.
Alright. Moving on.
So we're moving on to, here goes the unflipper that I was referring to earlier. So Energy Flame Athenic. Sorry, I have a hard time pronouncing some of these names. So this is the unflipper. So whenever my card puts an opponent's rear guard into the drop zone, he goes into the soul. You don't have to counterblast and anything, which is the beauty of it. He goes into the soul, unflip up to 2 damage.
Oh,
Perfect.
2 damage.
Yes, 2.
Oh wow.
So that goes into play. So if in case I needed Dragonic Overlord the end, or if I wanted to get his skill off but I have 2 damage face down, use his skill, which goes in the hand with Twilight Arrow or Dragonic Burnout, and then I get to actually unflip 2 damage. He goes into the soul, which allows me to also play into consideration Calamity Tower. So Calamity Tower, you want him because Kagero has a problem with drawing or having a lot of cards in hand. So that's why I added 2 Calamity Towers, because I like to have at least a decent hand. So Calamity Tower, of course, you Soul Blast 2, draw 1. Really that simple.
Okay. Why do you run 3 of him? What does he even do?
So this is the promo that comes with the Kagero the G set 2.
Oh, G set 2. Okay.
So this one is not only it works well with Dragonic Blade Master, because you can reveal this card you can reveal this grade 3. If you have a grade 3 in your hand, reveal it to your opponent, and then you can add Dragonic Blade Master. It works well with a Dragonic Blade Master build. The reason I have it per se is because I use it because it becomes considered a grade 3 when I want to stride. So instead of chucking my grade 3s, I can actually chuck him and I'll be able to stride.
So that's your stride enabler pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So I don't have to minus myself on my grade 3s that I can use for either Dragonic Overlord the cross skill or the end skill, and I can still attack my opponent with the stride.
Have you ever had a problem getting that card and then also being using a grade 3 or something to stride?
The card actually comes pretty frequent. I actually is able to get at least 2, sometimes all 3 copies within the fight. So it actually comes to my deck pretty handily, because as you can see, I don't have that many grade 1s that's clouding it, as well as I don't have that many grade 2s or grade 3s that's clouding it. The most I have of a card, well, of a grade level is grade 2s, but it comes pretty frequent. So don't worry about if you'll never get to it, because trust me, it will come to your hand when you need it to.
Since you get it so frequently, why don't you think about maybe running 2 of them? I mean,
because with this card, by me being an aggro player, I always want to have opportunities, and this card presents a great opportunity, because whenever I do not have a grade 3 in my hand and I do want to stride, it comes in handy. So I like to have just a plan B. It's my plan B for the most part. So you always want to have a plan B. Even though you have a plan A, always have a plan B, and this card is my plan B.
What does he do?
So this is the beauty of this deck. So this can become an 11k booster or 11k attacker. So the card is Generation Break 1, and if your opponent, if I put one of my opponent's rear guards into the drop zone, it gains plus 5,000 every time. So every time. So the more cards I put into the rear guard, it gains plus 5,000. So it can go from just a 6k booster to a 16k booster in one turn.
Very nice.
And I like columns, so it goes again well with my aggro play style. I love attacking. I love putting my opponents at my mercy. So plus 11k booster on one rear guard put in drop zone. If you put multiple, it becomes a 16k booster plus.
Now, what's your plan for if your opponent has more of a swarm deck, such as like maybe Neoneck or something, where they can replenish their field really quick? What's your plan after that, after you get rid of their field? So
once I get rid of their field, that's where I go into striding. So I put my opponent at my mercy by also using these skills in conjunction with the stride, because the stride, both of my strides allow me to retire my opponent's rear guard. So I put them in submission whenever I either stride or either I use the crosses skill or my vanguard, the end skill. So really, even if they replenish their field, if they can't defeat me in a matter of every time, because they can only do that for so much. So if it gets to a point where they can't defeat me that turn, I will destroy their field again. That puts them at a negative as well. So I'd rather, even if they can replenish their field, I will always find a way to destroy it because of either the Dragonic the cross skill or my stride skill or my grade 2 skills.
Alright, let's move on to your trigger lineup.
So now for the triggers.
They're all right there.
Yep, that's all of them. Okay, so it's a basic lineup. Even though I am a very aggressive player, I still would like to have a hand. So that's why you see me have at least 4 draw triggers in here. You can vary. You can have 9, 3, and 4. Me personally, I like to have 8, 4, and 4 because I'm an aggressive player, so I love to have crits. I love critting people, I love double crit, and now with stride, maybe triple critting. So that's why you see I have 8 crits. Now specifically when it comes to the draw triggers, I have Gatling Claw. Gatling Claw, counterblast 1, put into the soul, retire opponent's rear guard. Well, grade 0 rear guard. So anybody who uses a starter or their starter gives them a plus, I take away that. And also I'm able to use, with me taking away their grade 0 starter skill, I can also get my grade 1 unflip roll. So all this kind of goes in hand with unflipping damage and retiring my opponent's rear guards. So that's why I have Gatling Claw. Now you can use 2 Gatling Claws or 2 Seal Dragons, but me personally, I like 4 Gatling Claws because a lot of opponents nowadays, they use a lot of grade 0 to boost because their grade 0 triggers now have effects as well. So with my Gatling Claw, I can destroy their grade 0s and also minus them in that sense. So that's why I have 4 Gatling Claws because that's my personal play style of 4 heal triggers, of course, and 8 critical triggers.
Have you ever thought about maybe being as aggressive as you are, running for stands? Because I know in stride, there is that chance that you could stand up a whole column that you have boosted up immensely to be able to just stand right back up and get another 22 plus K attack in, so get 4 attacks altogether. Side column, stride, side column, and if you get stand triggers or whatever, in conjunction with critical triggers, have you ever thought about maybe running those stands to maybe see if you can finish it that turn?
Well, that's the beauty of the deck. The deck lends itself to being able to interchange easily. So for me, a lot of people would think that I love stand triggers, or I would put stand triggers in that because I'm an aggressive player. But really, you don't want to be too aggressive to a point where you leave yourself open after just many attacks. So that's why I don't have stand triggers, because even though stand triggers will boost my aggro playstyle. I'm not so aggro where I don't think before I attack. So even though stand triggers will help boost my aggressive play, I'd rather be aggressive and safe than just all aggressive and not safe when it comes to my turn. So that's why, and again, Kagero has a problem of you not having a hand. I need a hand because I'm a very nice defending player. So aggro when it comes to my offense, but I can defend very well as well. So you want to have at least something that helps you defend. You don't want to just be an all aggro person and then you leave yourself defensive because you don't have a nice hand or you don't have enough guarding hand.
Alright, well let's move on to your stride.
So I love the strides that came with this deck because it works so well with the way the deck plays. So I have the Vine Knight Mahmood and I have Root Flare Dragon. Are they all in?
Yeah, they're all there.
Okay. So with Divine Knight Mahmood, basically if she hits, I get to retire, which goes in hand with, okay, she hits, I retire. Now I have the plus 5,000 support, and plus I can get the unflip because of my unflipper skill. So she goes in hand with that. Also, you will want to lead off with her because of Root Flare skill. You need to have 2 face-up cards in the G zone. So I suggest always start off with her because if more than likely your opponent, if they're at 1, maybe 2 damage, more than likely if they're at 1 damage, they're gonna let her hit. So if she hit, she's gonna retire 1, and then now you have 1 card, you're plussing 1 because now when you stride again and you use Root Flare, you stride him, then his skill is you flip 1 of him over, so now he has 2 in the G zone, and then because of that, now he chooses 1 card in the front row, he destroys that card and the card behind it, so he gets to destroy a column as well, which goes in hand with now that's 2 cards down. In 1 turn I have 2 cards down, so now my supporters are going to be plus 10,000. So now not only do you have 26,000 or more attack in Vanguard, but now you have columns that's at least boosted 16, and with 12 attackers, they're going to be 28,000 columns at least. So now, as you can see, now I'm still playing aggressive, and I don't really need my stand tricks because I'm playing aggressive throughout the whole deck. So the strides come in handy in terms of removing my opponent's allies on the field and increasing my power.
Alright, well, thank you very much for this X/cross deck profile. One more quick thing. What is your winning image on the field? If you could give me an example of your winning image. You know how in the anime they had Saqualia and their winning image? Show me yours.
So my winning image is, of course, having the cross and the end on the field, of course. I want them
Vanguard Circle.
In the Vanguard Circle. I want to have Twilight and one of my grade 1 boosters because of his skill. I want to have Dragon, or I can interchange with him and have Burning Horn Dragon because he's a 12k booster, or have either one of them because they're 12k attackers. So that's one of my big things, and always have these 2 supporting my Vanguard. I mean, supporting my rear guard. So that's kind of really where I want, and also have any kind of 7k booster will help as well. So that's kind of
your winning image?
My winning image.
So him on the left or right, depending. Basically these in a column, and then out of these in a column with this.
Yes.
And then
this just so my Vanguard, instead of just being 22,000, now it's 29,000. So it adds that extra pressure. So even if I don't stride, my Vanguard still swinging with 29,000, which is an added pressure.
Or would your winning image be?
I can be Root Flare Dragon, and then now these are plus and plus 10,000. So either way,
actually no.
No, it's
an act.
It's an act. So either way.
Yeah.
My winning image is my Vanguard having at least something to boost it most of the time, and then my columns being boosted by these 2.
Alright, well thank you very much for this deck profile and your segment of Saqualia and your winning image. Thank you, Darius.
No
would you like to say anything else before we sign off?
See you at the regionals.
All right, everybody. This has been Adam and Darius from the Justice League. Hope to see you at regionals, and look forward to our next video. See ya.